All right, in this video, I'm going to tell you why ESPN sucks. I'm going to give you 3 pointers. The last one's really good. Might actually surprise some of you. So stay tuned. Also, subscribe if you want more great content like this. Let's go. All right, what's going on, guys? My name is Justice. I'm a former pastor, former life coach, and I like to talk about things that are happening and maybe give you a different perspective as to what is going on. Now, today's video, I'm going to be talking about why ESPN sucks now. And for some of you, you might be going, golly, what is ESPN? Some of you younger people are like, why is that important? What is this? Most people know what it is, but I'm going to give you 3 different reasons why I believe ESPN sucks now. And before I get into those, I want to give you a little bit of history. Most of you, if you're over the age of 30, you understand what I'm talking about. And for those that are younger, I'm going to fill you in. ESPN, before you could watch a bunch of stuff on the internet, your one way of knowing what is happening in sports was ESPN. Now, you might be going, well, yeah, of course they do that. Like, no, you don't understand. They had the coolest broadcasters. They had the top 10 every day, and they would play the same thing over like every hour, and you would tune in to watch. They would give you highlights, but not only that, the broadcasters were funny. They were hilarious. They would share little things at the end of every segment that would tune you in. They'd have these interviews that were awesome. It was everything. I would sit down for an hour and watch the same thing 2 to 3 times within an hour, hour and a half of them repeating the same thing and still watch it. I mean, you would wake up. Most men would wake up in the morning, and one of the first things they do if they got their coffee is turn on the TV and turn to ESPN and just watch. Now remember, it was cable and there were commercials. It wasn't like I could just go to a new YouTube channel that would just fill me in. They might have one sponsor. No, it was like every 2 minutes there was a commercial, and we still absolutely loved it. I mean, every single anchor had their own kind of sign off that everyone knew. They would have a little bit of comedy bits, and you would just, it was the best part of your morning. And then in the evening, you'd come home after the kids are down, after everything's done, you would turn on the TV and you'd watch what happened in sports, right? Because you might have all the channels. And so this thing would summarize everything, and it was incredible, okay? So just so you know, there is an emotional affection for most men over the age of 30 with ESPN. So if you see me kind of talk with a little bit of energy, a little bit of anger, a little fired up, it's because ESPN held a special place in most men's hearts for such a long time because it was absolutely everything we wanted and nothing that we didn't want. There was no fluff. There was no BS. It was just incredible. But that has changed. Now, you might be surprised by the first thing that I say this is, and you're going to be like, oh my gosh, Justice, here you go, mansplaining whatever. And I am. 100% I am. Because the number one thing that started changing this was that ESPN started focusing on hiring women. All right? Now, before you guys call me sexist, which honestly, I might be, and that's okay. The number one thing that I want you guys just to think about this. Especially any women. I want you to think of like when you have your women's whatever, at night when you guys go out, have wine, and just hang out and talk. I want you to think of a guy entering into that room and just hanging out with you. Now I want you to think about, and they're not like feminine men that just come and hang out that you see as one of the girls and you joke about. No. I'm talking about a dude, a bro, just comes and hangs out. Now I want you to think about 2 bros. Now 3, now 4. So now your little group of 5 women, 6 women, 7 now has 4 bros in there just kind of chiming in and talking about whatever it is. It wasn't about women being in sports. It was about that there was a man channel that suddenly became, slowly but surely, more and more women. Now, I don't know about you. Anytime I turn ESPN and there's a woman talking about sports or speaking about something more and more and more, I just change the channel. I'm just being honest. Because I don't tune in just for the sports. I tune in to hang out with some dudes at the end of the day. If I want to hang out with my wife, I'll spend 100, 200 bucks and go have a great dinner with her and listen to whatever she's talking about and absolutely love it. But there's a time that you want to hang out with the bros where you want to light a cigar, grab a beer, and just hang out. And for many men, that was ESPN. Now, ESPN didn't necessarily know that because I think they forgot about their target audience. I think all of us understand what happened with Bud Light. When Bud Light put whoever that person was on that can and everyone overreacted, it was that they forgot about their target audience. Who drinks Bud Light? It's dudes. It's the bros. So it wasn't that the bros were against this thing. It's that now you're entering into the man cave. And so ESPN didn't realize, or they decided they don't want to be that anymore, which is up to them. And they said, we're no longer the man cave. We are now the living room. And every man is going, ah. And I still think men thought, that's okay, that's cool. But I would compare it to your favorite women's show or channel. Let's just say, I know most women don't like this channel or watch it, but just think of The View. If all of a sudden The View went from 4 women to 2 women and 2 men, it would totally lose its whatever it is. You'd hate it. That's what happened with ESPN. Suddenly, there were women entering into the conversation. Some of them amazing and knowledgeable and incredible at sports knowledge and awesome. But then all of a sudden you're like, why do I feel like women are being forced on me? What is this? And so there's just a little bit of like this isn't what it used to be and it isn't what I want. And so I stopped at that point. I was just like, this is becoming, I don't understand it, but I came here for the bros and now it's not the bros, so I'm out. Now, the second reason is I actually think that led to the next part, which was woke. I think it was a key to ESPN going woke. Now, when I turn into ESPN, there is this, I don't go to find out how racist people are or unracist or how for, LGBTQ or against LGBTQ. I don't want to know how racist or unracist things are. I don't care about that. There's nothing racist about a guy running a football down the field. And if there is, I don't want to know about it. I just want to know what the score was and I want to know the highlights. But all of a sudden, I'm forced to listen through to people talking about Black Lives Matter. All of a sudden, I have to listen to about gay sports. All of a sudden, I have to listen about women's sports. And by the way, women's sports sucks. Okay? It sucks. It is slower. It is boring. The only women's sports that I care about is when they're doing a sport that men can't do, so I can go, oh, I see the value in that. We can't do that. That makes it unique. But if you're going to tell me, and this would actually happen, that one of the top 10 plays in a day when most of the sports are playing is a woman playing basketball, I know you're lying to me. You were forced to put that in there. You mean to tell me that a left fielder for the White Sox running as fast as he can and jumping and catching a ball that almost went into the stands, which is a complete physical feat, 230 pounds, jumping, a vertical, like it's insane. And then you're going to tell me that some girl playing for some Seattle WNBA team, I don't even know if there is a team out there, doing a layup is comparable? What do you think, I'm an idiot? No. No one wants to watch that. And you know what the key is to understanding this is? Women don't want to watch it. Women don't go to WNBA games. Do you know how many times they've tried to launch a women's soccer league and women don't show up? It's not the men. So, again, that goes off on a tangent. But the reality is that they started to go woke. Now, okay, you add women to ESPN and more women than you would say. It's like you take over the man cave. And a certain segment, I'd say maybe 10 to 15%, guys like me, where it's annoying when you hear too many women's voices in your day. It's like I went through my whole day. Now I'm coming to my man cave, man time, just the dudes. And now there's more women in there adding their 2 cents. I'm out. Okay? Now that's a small segment. But when it starts to go woke and you've got Bubba, who at the end of his tired, long day, working a blue-collar job, sits down, and now he's being told that he's racist and that there needs to be a black anthem, and you've got other people saying it, you're just like, I came here for sports. What's going on? Now that's another 20% that just checks out. All right? Now the last piece is, I think that they all, whenever they, and this is the part that's happening right now, okay? Now when you do all these things, what that does is it forces out talent. Because most of the people that we really love and that we really like them because they actually say what they think. These are the personalities that we just adore. I believe that's why Pat McAfee, before he was on ESPN, people loved him. I think that's why Barstool, before they got super, super big, that's what actually grew them, was that they attracted people, and the people that were attracted to them liked them because they actually said what they thought about players, sports, all that. They just were honest and brutal. It was the bros being the bros. When you go hang out in the man cave and everyone's lighting their cigar and you're playing poker, you're drinking a beer, there's sports playing, guys are not holding back. It's locker room talk. And that was a part of what ESPN was until it wasn't. All right? Now, what happens is those guys that speak their mind, they either go, I can't be myself here, and they leave, they start a podcast, they start a YouTube channel, or they get fired, which is literally happening, right? So this is why, that's the third piece, that is why ESPN sucks now, and why even the talent that they bring in, like Pat McAfee, is having a hard time, where he's running into their politics, he's running into all their stuff, because they've become female-driven, woke, and talentless. And now people have to deal with it. And so do I think something's going to replace it? Do I think ESPN will ever not be the dominant sports thing? No, I think they'll always be up there because they built a brand that's bigger than themselves. But do I think they will, over time, just become this other thing? 100%. And this is the last piece. When you look at CNN or Fox News or any of these mainstream media, they actually get less views than like a Joe Rogan or some of these YouTubers that talk about the news, these opinion pieces. They get less views than them. So you might be going, well, how do they stay relevant? Well, their advertisers are basically paying them to be a voice for the advertisers. That's what's happening to ESPN. ESPN will slowly become something that no one really watches, but they have a ton of money because they either have contracts with leagues that are still being played out, or advertisers, big advertisers in industries that none of us care about that are usually screwing over America, are paying them to be the voice, to be their voice, to say what's permissible and not permissible so they can make more money. All right? ESPN is turning into that, and they will continue to turn into that. But I think if you care about sports and you know sports and you're a journalist, man, the time is now to start your channel, start recruiting talent, and go out there and create the next man cave sports show that everyone loves. All right, let's go.